Hey y'all, hey, and welcome to John Conclusions with me, Christina B. I'm here with a brand new segment for you guys. It's called A Blunt and Tea with me, Christina B. Something very new and different. The other things that I've done have pretty much been based around doing like murder mysteries, true crime, current events, things of that nature. But this is just going to be, I guess, just about me talking about things that I have interest in or things that I'm wondering about. I'm a huge conspiracy theorist, so I'm sure it's going to be plenty of segments on different conspiracies and different things of that nature. Um, as you can see, I'm not very well prepared. I got this idea from a friend of mine. He gave me the idea, he gave me the name, and it's been like a couple weeks since he came to me with it. And I was trying to think about, what I'm gonna talk about, what I'm gonna talk about, what I'm gonna talk about. And he was like, just talk. And that makes me a little self-conscious because, well, one, I don't feel like people really want to hear what I have to say, and two, I feel like I ramble. So, I'm just rambling. And plus, when you're doing a video like this, you're not actually talking to anybody in the moment. I know, like, watching a lot of YouTube videos, you feel like you're having a conversation or a dialogue with the person. But to make it, it's like you're just talking to the camera. So you kind of have to, that's a little awkward. But we're trying something new. We're putting ourselves out there this year, and we're going to see what happens. So like I said, the segment is going to be called A Blunt and Tea with Christina B. So I do have my tea. I have some lemon ginger green tea. So good. And for legal reasons, my blunt is just going to be one of my herbal blends because weed is not yet legal in my state. But this is what the vibe is, and we're just going to talk for a few minutes and see what comes up. If you're with it, let me know. If you don't like it too much, let me know as well. I think I'm going to do like 2 or 3 to begin with just to see how, people vibe with them. And hopefully it'll be a thing. Because I haven't really been posting regularly, but I am going to try to get back into posting 3 videos a week. 3 videos would be my Talk to Me Tuesday, my Murder Mystery with a Masterpiece on Fridays, and then now my Blunt and Tea with Christina B. Like maybe on the weekends, like Saturday, Sunday morning. I was thinking like Sunday morning because that's the time when I like to meditate. I like to water my plants, do my little talk with God, my spiritual things, things of that nature. So I thought that may be a good time to do this, but I don't know. Today is Monday, and it's a rainy day. I've been packing, getting ready to move, started to take a break, made me a cup of tea, and was like, hey, why don't I just sit down and shoot a YouTube video, because why not? So here we are, and we're just going to see how this goes. Let's discuss. So as I said before, I didn't write a script, which I'm really nervous about because I'm dependent on my scripts for my other segments because I ramble. I get off track of what I'm trying to say, and I go off on these tangents through my stories, and I like for my videos to be, like in order in a timely fashion, like boom, 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 and done. But this is gonna be something different. So as I've been thinking about it, like what I can talk about, I decided I wanted to talk about my spiritual journey. And I wanted to talk about this, well, really because I need feedback, though you guys can't give me immediate feedback. But because I've been trying to decide how I want to spiritually raise my children. And I have 2 boys, 2 sons. They're now 4 and 5 years old. And I have not spiritually raised them in the way that I have been raised. I have not really introduced religion to my children. I'm definitely not in the way that, it was introduced and taught to me. I was raised in the church. The church was a very big part of my life when I was growing up. We went to Sunday school, Sunday service. We participated in almost everything from the choirs to the usher board to praise dancing to I was a missionary. I was a junior steward. We went to the annual conferences. We went to not summer school, vacation Bible school. We did all of that. I won't say that we were like, church was very important, but I won't say we were like a church-based family. And the distinction that I'll make is that church wasn't the center of my family's life. No, it was very important. It was like definitely top 3, but it wasn't the center of our world. Family was more so the center. So yeah, we did spend a lot of time in church, but it didn't really rule, our lives day to day. Except for like how we act, behave, things of that nature. But well, if you know somebody, or if you're a person that was like really big into if you're a person that church was the center of your life, you know what I mean. The distinction between like being a churchy kid versus a kid that goes to church. There's a difference. If you don't get it, it doesn't matter. But anyway. So I was big into going to church. I was born and raised AME Zion. I went to St. James AME Zion Church. That's the church that I was christened in as a child when I was in elementary school, maybe like 3rd grade. We had a bad hurricane that came through and it completely destroyed our church. In the meantime, while they were trying to figure out, what they were going to rebuild, what have you, my mom decided to take us to another church, which was a Baptist church. So then I was baptized, I became Baptist. And then after a while, we moved back into being AME Zion, went back to an AME Zion church. And that's the last church that I was a member of before I stopped going to church. Okay, so now before I get into like how I wanted to go deal with my kids, let me just talk about why I no longer go to church and what drove my spiritual journey. Because I was raised Christian, and I do still have, a lot of Christian beliefs, values, things of that nature. It was my introduction to God. It was, how I grew my relationship, with God, with the Spirit. But now, being 30 years old, I would consider myself being more spiritual than Christian. And I hate to say that because people, when you say that to people, they're like, oh, well, you replaced God with the universe and you replaced, prayer with manifestation and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not what it is. I feel like Christianity only took me to a certain point. And then from there, I've been further developing my relationship with God. I've been further understanding God and my relationship with Him. Nobody's replacing God with the universe. There is a difference. They're not the same. But I feel like spirituality is understanding how, the universe, your ancestors, and all of these different things that we've been taught are shown to be pagan and evil actually do make sense in Christianity, actually are practiced in Christianity. If you look at the Last Supper, okay, no, sorry, not the Last Supper. If you look at communion, once a month on the first Sunday of every month, we do a ritual where we go up to the altar where we consume bread and wine. But they are symbolic of the body and the blood of Jesus. Is that not just some kind of spell? The first people that did that, why would you consume the body and the blood of a person? You know what I'm saying? It's a spell. I'm not sure what the spell was meant to cast or what the purpose was originally, but it's a spell. And us continuing to do this ritual every first Sunday, this is millions of people across the world that participate in Christianity, Catholicism. As far as I know, they're the only ones that do communion. But there are thousands of religions. So there could be other religions that also participate in communion, which is this ritualistic continuation of this initial spell that was begun by Jesus, or that was begun by using Jesus' body and his blood. It could have been done without his consent. We really don't know. But either way, that first spell was done, and it is maintaining or retaining its power by the millions of us that follow Christianity now every Sunday every first Sunday, taking of the body symbolically, taking of the bread symbolically, and doing the prayers. Every first Sunday, whenever you sit down for communion, they recite the same prayers, the same chants, the same Bible verses, what have you. There's a reason for that. That is a spell. Just because there's not a lady in a black dress sitting over a cauldron stirring in stirring in rat's feet and I don't know, whatever witches do, doesn't mean it's not the same thing. So, I mean, to me, it's just a higher education of Christianity. That's my perspective on it, anyway. Because a lot of Christianity, with the Bible, because when I first, see, this is what I'm talking about with the tangent. You see how I just went all the way off on this tangent? I was supposed to tell you why I stopped going to church. So, backtracking for 1 second. So, like I said, I did a lot of stuff in the church. When I was in high school, I got inducted to be a missionary, so like a junior missionary. The missionaries are the people that go out and they do outreach, throughout the community, throughout people that need help, whatever like that. They go on missions as missionaries, to help, whatever. Y'all know what missionaries are, so that we don't go to other countries to do these missions. We just, within our community, neighborhoods, what have you, we do what we can to help people. So one of the first missions or outreach that the junior missionaries we were able to do was we were supposed to be responsible for adopting this family for the church. And when the church adopts a family, they just help them with bills, meals, kids' clothes, books, hair, whatever, whatever a family may need and cannot be provided for whatever reason, the church, offers to help them with that. In return, the family comes to church. Because as we know, as well-intentioned as Christianity seems to be, the main objective of Christianity is recruitment. I'm not really sure why they've always been so stuck on recruiting people, but that is the main theme of Christianity is make more people Christians, which doesn't make sense because if you were of God, if you exuded God, if you showed people God by how you acted, how you treated people, how you talked, you know what I'm saying, in your walk and all of that stuff, then people will follow you because you would be directing them to God. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that with Christianity, a lot of times it's more manipulation than sincerity that attracts people, because a lot of Christians are very, very, a lot of Christians are very hypocritical, which goes into the reason why I stopped going to church. So back off my tangent. So we found this family. It was a mother and she had 3 small children, I believe. And, they were just, poor, for lack of words. She didn't, have the funds to do the things that were needed, let alone the things that she wanted. So, we go and we get them. I really don't know all the ins and outs because I was 16, 17. I was young and we really didn't do a lot of the logistic stuff. I know they did, buy them groceries. They were planning to buy school supplies and clothes for the children, things of that nature. This would be the family that we also sponsored for Christmas. So it's a year thing. So this family we would buy Christmas presents for and all that stuff when the time came. But at this point, it was around this time of year, around Easter, springtime. But anywho, so, once we had found the family, the agreement was made in place and we started doing things to help. The next step was for the family to come to church. And the mother off top, as soon as we said that, we wanted to come to church, she was no, I don't want to come. I don't have anything to wear. The kids don't have anything. I can't get my hair done. Look right. I don't want to do it. And, me, I think my cousin was there. I don't even remember now, y'all. But either way, we're all optimistic and enthusiastic. No, God says come as you are. Nobody's going to judge you as long as you come, blah, blah, blah. It's being young, naive Christians, It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. You can come hear the word. We're going to be serving food afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring the kids. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So Sunday came. I'm all excited. After Sunday school, I'm downstairs waiting for the family, take them upstairs, because the way our church is it's a big church, it's 2 stories, so downstairs in the bottom is where we have, like, Sunday school, we have, like, food and stuff, we eat downstairs, and vacation Bible school, all that kind of stuff is downstairs. And then upstairs, is the actual church, where the vestibule, I can't think of the word now, but the actual church part is upstairs. So bring the family upstairs, have them come in, excitedly sit them down, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as this mother with her children comes in and sits down, the women of the church start to talk bad about her, talk about her clothes and her hair, and why she brings them babies like that, and she didn't give that little boy a haircut, and why didn't she comb that baby's hair, and she ain't have nothing better to put on them. All the stuff that she had said she was worried about happening when she came to church happened. Everything. And it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? Because you could talk about somebody discreetly and they don't know it. No. If I could hear these women talking about her, she most certainly heard these women talking about her. And so, now what she's embarrassed, she's ashamed. She already had to accept help, which is already embarrassing enough as it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't provide for my own children. I need you to help me. But then you bring me into your space and these people start talking badly about me. So, of course, she leaves. I never saw the woman again. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that turned her off completely from church, God, whatever. I never saw her again. Her kids did come back to church for a while after that. But I ended up leaving. Like I said, I was like 17. I graduated from high school at 17. Then I moved away for college. And I just really stopped going to church. That was it for me. I really didn't go much. I've probably been like 6 times since I was 17. And I'm 30 now. So that has made me wary of taking my children into the church, because those women that were in there talking about this lady, they were the women that I looked up to, the women that taught me how to be a godly woman, the women that, they were very integral in my spiritual upbringing, all of that. And it was like all the stuff that you had taught me, all the things that you had led me to be, and being a good person and being a godly person, all of this. And as soon as this woman walks in, you just start to talk about her in this, like petty high school teenage girl way for something that that she can't control, because we're literally sponsoring this family to help them because she's in the financial, in a financial situation. And it really it disappointed me. It broke my heart. It didn't like turn me against God, because I've heard people stories of like, stuff can like diminish their faith. It didn't do that for me. Because I love God. God is who he is, and people are people. You know what I'm saying? They're 2 distinctly different entities. But it did sour me on the church and on these people that claim to be so godly and claim to be so, holier than thou. Because at the end of the day, you're just as bad, if not worse, than everybody else. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, because as a kid, you always waited for that day. Well, not waited, but as a church kid, it's like that day where you could hold your head high and feel like you were holier than thou because of your relationship with God, your walk with God, you know what I'm saying? Like how you carry yourself. And you look at these older people in the church, specifically the women for me, because I was growing into a woman. And, it's like these are the accomplishments I need to make in order to be at this position with God, supposedly. And then you look at it, it's like I've met bums off the street, crackheads and killers, you know what I'm saying, that have been more godly, that have been better people than people that I've gone to church with my whole life. And that just changed my perspective on a lot of things. It changed me. And it really made me not want to go to church. Now I went back, because because I wasn't going to church didn't mean I didn't want to stop my relationship with God. I still prayed all the time. I still talked to God. But then I felt stagnant in my spirit. You know what I mean? Like, because when you're in church all the time, I don't feel like churches really honestly teach you and help you to grow your relationship with God, first of all. But when you're in church, you can always feel the spirit. You know what I mean? You can always feel God there, because like the Bible verse says, when two or three are in agreement, and when two or three are in agreement, so too shall God be. When two other people come together to praise God, you know what I'm saying, God comes in the mix. And so when you're in church, you can feel God, so it makes you feel close to God, if you understand what I'm saying. So you don't realize that you aren't actually nurturing your relationship with God, if you get what I'm saying. It's like if you have a friend and every time y'all get together, y'all go out and party and y'all have a good time. So you feel like this is a positive relationship, it's a really good relationship, you know what I'm saying? This relationship is great. But then something happens, but then like your friend passes away. And to you, it's like, oh, this came out of the blue. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know she was going to pass away. What happened? Like, oh, she had cancer. She had been sick for years. And you're like, what? But it's like your relationship had never progressed to that point where she was able to open up to you, and vice versa. So she had cancer, you know what I'm saying? She had a husband, she had kids, she was a doctor, she was all of these things, but those were things that you never knew about her because y'all's relationship was so surface level that you only partied together. That was the extent of where it went. You know what I'm saying? So you go to the funeral thinking, oh, this is my best friend, and you find people that have stronger, better, you know, more intact relationships with her, though y'all spent every weekend for the last 15 years together, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's not the quantity of time spent together, but the quality of the relationship. So I feel like church gives you a false relationship with God. You know, unless you're taking that time to you know what I'm saying, to work on it yourself, which a lot of people don't, because why do I need to if I'm in church all the time? I'm here on Wednesday for Bible study. I'm here twice on Sundays. I go to all the board meetings. You know what I'm saying? I do everything in the church. I'm this close to the church. How could I not be close to God? And I feel like that's the disconnect. So, without being in church all the time, so yes, I was talking to God, I'm praying, I'm doing all these things, but I begin to feel stagnant in my spirit because I don't feel God as strongly when it's just me. You know what I'm saying? Because you need two or three in agreement. And it's just me sitting here agreeing, talking to God. You don't feel him the same. Or at least I thought I didn't feel him the same, but I didn't think I felt him the same because I had never spent time with myself and developed a relationship with God by myself aside from the church. So a lot of people have a strong relationship with the church, but not a strong relationship with God. You get what I'm saying? So now, okay, I sat and I worked on myself for one, and for two, on my relationship with God. I've read the Bible. Not the whole thing. The Bible was very long, as y'all know, but I've read parts of the Bible. I've read more of the Bible in this stage of my life than I ever had in going to church, which is very surprising. But I've read the Bible. I've read the Quran, parts of the Quran. The Quran is not as long as the Bible, but no, I haven't read the whole thing. I've read parts of it. I've read parts of the Torah, which essentially is just the first testament of the Bible. But it's strikingly different because a lot of the Bible has been changed, specifically by King James. I do not read the King James version of the Bible because it is the most massacred, in my opinion. So I guess the furthest from what was originally written. And I try to stray away from the New Testament, or I guess parts of the New Testament, because I feel the New Testament in particular has the most parts that were altered. In my opinion, if that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like I've gone off on another tangent, guys, because I don't know. But yeah, that was why I stopped going to church. So yeah, anyway, so I've tried to garner myself a deeper relationship with God, and in doing that, I feel like I have come to understand myself better, and it's very much helped with my confidence, with the anxiety and things like that I have. I have like come to such a place of peace, you know. But and getting back to my children, I want to, properly teach them about God and how to construct their relationship with God. But I don't really know how to go about doing that because I had to learn how to do it on my own. Because, like I said, in church, they taught the Bible, but they didn't really teach you about, like how to have a relationship with God. Because I mean, it's just as important as having a relationship with your mother or your husband or anybody else. Um, and it's not something that's easy to do, which I thought it was because it's like I went to church all the time. I talk to God all the time. I know God. But you don't. I didn't. God knew me. I had talked to him. I talked to God constantly, all the time, but I had never stopped to listen. And which is like hard because, God is not standing here directly in front of you in an image that you can see and recognize and speaking in a voice and in a way that you can, automatically pick up on and know, okay, this is God. He's telling me. He speaks to us in other ways. Um, And I have reasons why I think that is now at this point, because at points in the Bible, God just straight up talked to people, and then it started being like burning bushes and whatnot, and then it was just like angels had to come. It's been a progression of us getting further and further and further and further away from God, to the point where now we have to use like intuition and angel numbers and spirit animals and things of that nature, depending on what your culture is and what your beliefs are. We have to use things like that in order to be able to connect with God and talk to God. But also in meditation, I feel like, okay, meditation is a part of praying. So after I pray now, I take time to meditate, to just sit quietly, to try to clear my mind and to like let myself hear God, if you understand what I'm saying. Because I don't want to sound crazy like I hear God in my head, because that's not what I'm trying to say. But like you do have like your inner dialogue, the voices in your mind. And I feel like that in points of meditation, that inner dialogue, my consciousness, my spirit, my soul connects with God and lets me know certain things. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say like God is like, I'm saying like God said to me if I go to the DP on Thursday and play these numbers, then I'm going to win the lottery. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying it's anything like that. But, like little things like you're questioning whether you should do something and you're asking for an answer. I feel like you can, feel that which way you can feel which way you should go. I don't know if I'm making sense anymore. And I don't really want to get deep into that in this video. But yeah, it's deep. Because if you think about it, like, okay, starting with Christianity, let's say God. God is basically in three parts. He's the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Right? And then you say that we are all a part of God. We're made in God's likeness, in His image, which I feel like has been interpreted incorrectly. I don't think that is to mean that we look like God, because this physical was something completely different from what God is. But I feel it to me like we encompass God, like in our spirit, in our souls. You know what I'm saying? We are made of God. Like, if you think about it, like, so I think about it like this, because if the story of creation is, it sounds like, okay, God created everything out of nothing. If you look at like the religions of Kemet, they say, like, with Thoth, that he created himself out of thought, which, you know, it's pretty much what there's was pretty much what the story is saying that God did. He created us out of word, more specifically. He spoke it, and so it was. God created himself out of thought. He thought he existed, and then so he did. But those things are still not nothing. You understand? Like, maybe in our understanding, we can't understand what's greater than that. You know what I'm saying? Because you literally can't get nothing. You can't get something from nothing, right? So I think about God as like, God is everything. God is everything. But when he was ready to create, he had to create from himself. So if you think about like Play-Doh, a big ball of Play-Doh, and you pull a little piece off and make it into a house. Pull another little piece off and make it into a tree. You know what I'm saying? And you keep pulling off until you have everything that you made, and you're left with, you know what I'm saying, still your original ball of Play-Doh, but then you have all of this other stuff that the ball of Play-Doh made that are still the ball of Play-Doh. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like that's what more so is meant by we are made in his image than we look like him. And you know what I'm saying, which causes senseless fighting, because everybody looks different. So it's like, well, who really looks like God? Who's really God's people? It's deeper than that. It's got to be. But yeah, so when I say, like, you can literally listen to God and feel God, because you are literally a part of God. You are a small piece of God placed here for the purpose that God placed you here. And I'll get more into what I think that purpose is at another time and date. But either way, so you can connect to God, you know what I'm saying, from the physical when you need to. That's what literally what praying is. It's like calling God and talking to him for a moment, getting advice, getting reassurance, maybe just getting some conversation. Because I just sit and talk to God random. I know he'd be tired of me, but I just talk to him about my day. I talk to God about anything, everything, all the time. All the time. So you don't always have to talk to God, and you don't always have to pray and ask for something, because it's a relationship. God doesn't want you to always come to him like asking for this, asking for that. Have you seen how he's doing? Have you checked on him? He literally has the weight of the world on his shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a reciprocal relationship. Like my grandma always says, faith without works is dead. God needs you to meet him halfway. So I was talking about the relationship with God. So yeah, people really don't know God. God just knows you, because all the talking, all the praying, all the asking that you're doing, you're not spending time to listen. And that's a very important and integral part of that relationship with God. And it's like in that listening, which is really more like a feeling, it really causes your life to flow better. I mean, because when they get into like the physics and everything of it, we're all just energy. And energy flows better when it's going in the right direction. So if you're trying to push and force and flow against how the original energy, God, is flowing, you are going to have pushback. You are going to have catastrophe. You are going to have loss, what have you. But if you flow how you're supposed to go, life progresses naturally, easily, and abundantly for you. And I do believe that, like, as I'm progressing throughout my spiritual journey, I believe that how you think and feel about things really can change things for you. And I've said this for years, but I've never really, like, expanded on it before. But perspective is everything, because how I look at something and how you look at something is completely different. Like, I was the teacher for a little bit, and I taught high schoolers. I had this assignment that I gave them No, they gave it to my middle school class. But either way, they watched like a video. I gave them like a video or something to watch. They watched something, and I had them each write like a paragraph on what they saw. And even though they all watched the exact same thing, their paragraphs, their descriptions of what they watched were different because each child focused on something different. So the way that they perceived the situation was different. If you focused on the main character, then you perceived it, you know what I'm saying, from that perspective. If you related to the underdog or whatever, then your perception of the situation was different. And that's exactly how life is. I mean, that's why there's so many disagreements. If you just look on the internet today, you can literally like argue over anything because people's perceptions are different. I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. But my camera is about to die, unfortunately. But guys, I don't know. I feel like I just like talked for like, I don't know, 10 minutes of random ramblings. I have no idea how to end this or anything. But yeah, this is our first episode of A Blunt and Tea with Christina B. It really was just random ramblings, and I'm sorry. Next time I'm gonna be a little bit more prepared. I did focus on one topic, but I didn't really talk about anything or come to a point. But I think that's okay. I think that's kind of the vibe of this, is to have kind of just an open dialogue. I think that's cool. I think that'd be dope. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this. If you watched it all the way to the end, I really, really appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Don't just talk shit. Give me your honest opinion. I mean, unless it was shitty, then it is what it is. But, you know, I love you. I had an awesome time with you guys today. I will definitely be doing another one of these because I have more shit to say. And hopefully you will be here to listen. I love you. Be great. Be you. I'll see you soon.